Turn off the lights, lock your doors, and be silent. Because the story you're about to hear works best in the quiet, when every sound feels louder and your mind starts imagining things on its own. Before we go further, tell me in the comments, where are you watching this from and what time is it right now? So without any further discussion, let's begin. I don't recognize the car. That's the first thing that felt wrong. It's parked under the failing fluorescent near the vending machines, engine off, driver's door closed, and there's someone standing next to it, just standing there, not leaning against the hood, not on their phone, just still. I glance at the clock on the desk, 3:17 a.m. I'm Casey Brennan, night auditor at the Sundial Motel, Highway 62, 30 miles deep into the Mojave, where the only thing between here and nothing is more nothing. I've been working this shift since October. It's January 14th now. 3 months of quiet. The guest in the parking lot hasn't moved. I can see them through the office window, a middle-aged man in a gray jacket, hands at his sides, facing his car like he's about to get in. But he doesn't. He just stands there. The lot is nearly empty, 8 cars total. His is the silver sedan near the back. I wait. He doesn't move. I check the guest log. Room 12, checked out at 9 p.m. Name, M. Ortiz, paid cash for 1 night. I look back outside. He's still there. Same position, same posture. I tell myself he's on the phone, or thinking, or waiting for someone inside to grab something. People do that, it's fine. But my hand hovers over the desk phone anyway. I don't call anyone. I just watch, and he doesn't move. Not for the next 2 hours. At 5:48 a.m., I hear the crunch of gravel in the lot. Day shift manager Linda pulls up in her Corolla, parks near the office. I glance toward the vending machines. The man is still there. Linda walks past him without a second look. She pushes through the door, coffee in hand, and gives me the usual nod. Quiet night? I hesitate. Yeah, mostly. She sets her bag down, pulls the logbook toward her. How many checked out? None yet. Probably a few will before noon. She flips a page, doesn't look up. Anything I should know? I almost say it. I almost point outside and ask if she sees him too, but something stops me. Instead, I say, no, all good. She nods, sipping her coffee. I clock out. I grab my jacket. And when I walk to my car, I pass within 10 feet of the man in the gray jacket. He's still standing there, facing his car, hands at his sides, eyes open. I don't say anything. I get in my car, start the engine, and leave. When I come back that night at 11 p.m., his car is gone. I check the log. Room 12 checked out at 11:30 a.m. No notes, no issues. I try to let it go, but I keep thinking about the way he stood there, the way Linda walked right past him like he wasn't even unusual. I tell myself I was tired. I tell myself it was nothing. 2 nights later, I start keeping a list. It's not official, just a notebook I keep under the desk. On the left side, guest checkouts recorded in the system. On the right side, cars I actually see leave the lot. By the end of the week, the numbers don't match. 11 checkouts, 4 cars. I go back through the week's logs, rooms 3, 7, 12, 18, 22, 26, 31, 33, 34, 9, and 14, all marked as checked out between Monday and Sunday. I was here for 6 of those nights. I only saw 4 vehicles leave. I stare at the list for a long time. Then I walk the property. 34 rooms arranged in 2 long wings around a cracked concrete courtyard with a dry fountain in the center. The neon sign at the road says Sundial Motel in faded orange letters. One of the U's is burnt out. Most of the rooms are dark. but room 18 has its lights off and the Do Not Disturb sign still hanging on the handle. I check my notes. Room 18 checked out Thursday morning. It's Sunday now. The sign is still there. I walk back to the office and pull up the housekeeping schedule. Maria's been on days all week. I send her a text. "Did you ever get into room 18? She replies 20 minutes later. No DND sign. Why? I stare at my phone. I look back outside. The sign is still there. I don't reply. Monday afternoon, I come in early. Linda's at the desk sorting mail. "Hey," I say, casual as I can manage. "Question about turnover." She doesn't look up. "What about it?" "Just seemed like we had a lot of checkouts last week. 11, right?" "Sounds about right." "That's kind of high for off-season, isn't it?" She shrugs. "People come and go." "Yeah, but I didn't see that many cars leave." Now she looks at me. Her expression doesn't change, but something in her eyes sharpens. "You counting cars now, Casey?" "No, I just—" "Guests check out when they're ready," she says. "You're night audit, not parking enforcement." It's not hostile, but it's final. I nod. "Right, sorry." She goes back to the mail. I clock in and try to forget about it. But I can't. That night, I pull up the motel's website on my phone. It's bare bones, just a booking page and a photo gallery from 2015. I scroll down and find a link to a third-party review site. Most of the reviews are what you'd expect. Clean enough, decent for the price, Wi-Fi barely works. But then I see one from 2019, 2 out of 5 stars, strange vibe. Stayed here on a road trip. Room was fine, but the guests were weird. One guy in the lobby just sat there for hours staring at the wall. Front desk didn't seem to care. Also, the guy in the room next to mine never left. Heard him moving around at all hours, but never saw him come out. Felt like people stay here way too long. I scroll further. Another review from 2021, 3 out of 5 stars, odd place. Cheap and quiet, but something felt off. There was an old man in the parking lot every single morning, just standing there. Same guy, same spot. The day manager said he was a long-term guest, but I never saw him go inside. I sit back. I look out the window at the empty lot. Then I search for the motel's history. Most of it is sparse. The Sundial opened in 1987, standard roadside motor lodge, 34 units, built by a developer named Raymond Coulter, who sold it in 1995. But buried in a local news archive, I find something else. A 2-paragraph story from 1985. Site cleared for new motel construction. Demolition completed this week on the old desert rest stop along Highway 62. The structure, which served travelers in the 1950s and 60s, had been abandoned since 1972. Local developer Raymond Coulter plans to build a 34-room motel on the site, expected to open in late 1987. I stare at the screen. The Sundial was built on top of something older, something that had been abandoned for 15 years before they tore it down. I close my phone. I don't know why that bothers me, but it does. On Wednesday night, I break protocol. It's 2 a.m. The lot is silent. No cars have come or gone since midnight. I take the master key from the drawer. I walk across the courtyard to room 18. The Do Not Disturb sign is still hanging there, even though the system says the room's been vacant since last Thursday. I knock. No answer. I knock again. Nothing. I slide the key in and push the door open. The room is empty. But it's not empty. The bed is made, the curtains are drawn, there's a suitcase on the luggage rack partially unzipped, a pair of shoes by the door, a jacket draped over the chair, a phone charger plugged into the wall. It looks like someone stepped out 5 minutes ago. I walk further inside. There's a notepad on the nightstand. I pick it up. Someone has written a single line in careful handwriting. It's easier if you don't fight it. I set it down. My hands are shaking. I back out of the room, close the door, and return to the office. I don't write it in my notebook. I don't tell Linda. I just sit there until sunrise. That afternoon, I can't sleep. I pull up the motel security footage on my laptop. We have 4 cameras, one at the front entrance, one covering the parking lot, one on each wing. I scrub backward through the last week. Thursday, 9:47 p.m. A man in his 50s exits room 18. He's wearing a denim jacket and carrying nothing. He walks across the courtyard. He doesn't go to the office. He doesn't go to his car. He walks toward the back of the property, past the laundry room, past the fence, and into the open desert beyond. The camera loses him after 20 feet. He never comes back. I sit there staring at the screen. Then I rewind further. I check the exits for the other rooms that checked out last week. Room 7, Monday, 1:34 a.m. Woman in her 30s walks into the desert. Room 22, Tuesday, 3:18 a.m. Older man, same direction. Room 12, Wednesday, 2:50 a.m. The man in the gray jacket, the one who stood by his car. He walks into the desert too. I keep going. I find 9 guests total, all checked out according to the system, all walked into the desert in the middle of the night. None of them came back. I try to call the police. I get as far as pulling up the number on my phone before Linda walks into the office. She's not supposed to be here. It's 10 p.m. She's day shift. Casey. I freeze. What are you doing? Nothing. Just... She crosses the room and holds out her hand. Give me the phone. Linda, Now. I hand it to her. She powers it off and sets it on the desk between us. You can't call the police without manager approval. That's in your contract. You know that. But guests check out when they're ready, she says. Her voice is calm, too calm. You don't need to worry about it. They didn't check out. They walked into the desert. Some guests prefer privacy. Linda, I saw the footage. 9 people. They all... Casey, she leans forward. This isn't your job. Your job is night audit, check-ins, check-outs, and log maintenance. That's it. Do you understand? I stare at her. Her expression hasn't changed, but her eyes are wrong. Flat, empty, like she's reading from a script she's said 1,000 times. I nod. Good, she says. She takes my phone with her when she leaves. I try to find my car keys after my shift. They're not in my bag. I check my pockets, the desk, the break room. Nothing. I ask Linda when she comes in at 6 a.m. Haven't seen them, she says. You probably left them in your car. I didn't. She shrugs. Check again. I go outside. My car is locked. The keys aren't inside. I don't have a spare. Linda offers to drive me home. I say no. I walk. It's 7 miles. By the time I come back that night, I've made a decision. I'm not staying here. I don't care about the job. I don't care about the paycheck. I'm leaving. But first, I need to know. At 2:30 a.m., I leave the office. I walk past the laundry room, past the busted fence, and into the desert. The ground is hard-packed dirt and scattered creosote. The air smells like dust and gasoline. I follow the direction the guests walked. After 5 minutes, I see it. A stone well. Old, circular, maybe 4 feet across. The opening is covered with a rusted iron grate, but I can see down into it. It's deep, too deep. I hear something below, a faint shuffling. Then I hear it again, closer. I step back. And then I see them, the guests, all of them, standing in a loose circle around the well, 20 feet away. They're facing me, silent, unmoving. I recognize the man in the gray jacket, the woman from room 7, the older man from room 22, and others I've never seen. 10, 15, maybe more. Their eyes are open, but they're not looking at me. They're looking through me. And then, all at once, they start walking toward me. Slow, synchronized. I run. I don't look back. I sprint across the desert, my boots catching on rocks and dead brush, my breath tearing out of my lungs. I reach the fence. I scramble over it. I run to the office, slam the door and lock it. I shove a chair under the handle. I turn off the lights, and I wait. I see them through the window. They walk back across the courtyard, single file, slow, calm. They don't try the door. They don't look at the office. They just walk to their rooms. One by one, they step inside and close the doors behind them. By the time the sun comes up, they're gone. I don't wait for Linda. I leave the keys on the desk. I walk out to the highway and hitch a ride with a trucker headed west. I don't look back. 1 week later, I check my bank account. There's a deposit, $1,847. The memo reads, Night Audit Shift, Sundial Motel. The date on the transaction is January 24th. Today is January 21st. I stare at the screen. I close the app. I open it again. The deposit is still there. 3 days in the future. I haven't been back to the sundial. I won't go back. But sometimes, late at night, I check my bank account again, and the date on that deposit never changes. It's always 3 days ahead, like the motel is still expecting me, like I never really left. I moved to Barstow. Found a studio apartment above a locksmith shop on Main Street. Paid first and last month with what was left in my savings. I applied for jobs, gas stations, diners, anything but motels. No one called back. I told myself it was the economy, the season, bad timing. But every application I filled out asked the same question, previous employer, and I always wrote the same thing, Sundial Motel. On January 24th, I wake up at 3 a.m. I don't know why. I just open my eyes and I'm awake. The room is dark, except for the glow of my phone on the nightstand. I reach for it. The screen shows 3:17 a.m. I stare at the numbers. That's the exact time I first saw the man in the gray jacket. I set the phone down. I close my eyes, but I can't fall back asleep. At 6 a.m., I check my bank account. The deposit is gone. Not pending, not reversed, just gone, like it was never there. I refresh the app 3 times. Nothing. I call the bank. The automated system tells me my last transaction was January 18th, a withdrawal for rent. I ask to speak to someone. The representative confirms it. No deposit on the 24th. No pending transactions. Nothing unusual. I hang up. I open my banking app again, and I see it. A new deposit. $1,847. Night audit shift, Sundial Motel. Date, January 27th. 3 days from now. I don't leave the apartment for 2 days. I order food, I stay inside, I keep my phone off. But on the 26th, I wake up at 3:17 a.m. again. This time, there's a sound. Faint, like gravel crunching under tires. I live on the 2nd floor. There's no parking lot beneath me, just the locksmith shop and a narrow alley. But I hear it. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I get up. I walk to the window and pull the curtain back. The alley is empty. But at the far end, near the street, I see a car. Silver sedan, engine off, driver's door closed. And standing next to it, facing the vehicle, is a man in a gray jacket. I let the curtain fall. I back away from the window. I don't look again. The next morning, the car is gone. I check the alley twice. Nothing. I tell myself I imagined it. I tell myself I'm stressed, sleep-deprived, paranoid. But when I check my bank account that afternoon, the deposit is gone again, and a new one appears. $1,847. Night audit shift, Sundial Motel. Date, January 30th. 3 days ahead. Always 3 days. I try to withdraw all my money. I go to the bank in person. I tell them I want to close my account. The teller is polite, professional. She asks for my ID. I hand it over. She types something into her computer. Then she pauses. "I'm sorry, Mr. Brennan, but there's a hold on your account." "What kind of hold?" "It says here you have an outstanding employment contract with mandatory direct deposit. You'll need a release form from your employer before we can process a closure." I stare at her. "I don't work there anymore." She glances at her screen. "According to our records, you're still listed as an active employee with the Sundial Motel." "I quit." "Do you have a termination letter?" "I don't. I never got one. I just walked out." She gives me an apologetic smile. "You'll need to contact your employer and request a formal separation notice. Once we receive that, we can proceed." I leave the bank. I sit in my car for 20 minutes. Then I drive east. I reach the Sundial just before sunset. The neon sign is on. Sundial Motel in flickering orange. The parking lot has 5 cars. I don't recognize any of them. I pull in and park near the office. Linda's car isn't here. I get out. The air smells the same. Dust and creosote and old asphalt baking in the last of the daylight. I walk to the office door. It's unlocked. Inside, the desk is empty. No one at the counter. No one in the back room. The computer is on. The logbook is open. I step behind the desk and look at the schedule. Night audit, Casey Brennan. Shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Status, active. I flip back through the pages. Every night since I left has my name on it. Checked in, clocked in, shift completed. I never came back, but according to the logs, I never left. I hear footsteps behind me. I turn. Linda is standing in the doorway. She's holding a cup of coffee, same Corolla keys in her hand. She looks at me like I'm right on time. "You're early," she says. "I quit." "No, you didn't. I walked out. I left the keys on the desk." She sets her coffee down and picks up a clipboard from the counter. "You're scheduled tonight, 11 to 7, same as always." "I'm not working tonight." "Casey," she tilts her head, "you signed a contract." "I don't care." "You should." She slides the clipboard toward me. I look down. It's an employment contract, standard boilerplate, my signature at the bottom. But there's a clause I don't remember reading. Section 7, Duration of Employment. Employee agrees to fulfill all scheduled shifts as assigned until formal termination is processed and approved by management. Failure to complete assigned shifts may result in automatic contract renewal and continued payroll obligation. I read it twice. This isn't legal. It's what you agreed to. I didn't agree to this. Linda picks up her coffee. You're on the schedule, Casey. If you don't work your shift, it just gets added to next week, and the week after that. It doesn't go away. I stare at her. You can't make me stay here. I'm not making you do anything. She glances at the clock on the wall. "But your shift starts in 4 hours. If you're not here, you'll still be on the schedule tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that." She walks toward the back room. Then she stops. "Oh, and your car keys are in the drawer. You left them last week." She disappears into the office. I stand there. I don't move. I look at the desk drawer. I open it. My keys are inside. I sit in my car until 10:45 p.m. I tell myself I'm going to leave. I tell myself I'll drive back to Barstow and never come back. But I keep thinking about the deposit, the one that keeps appearing 3 days ahead. Always exactly $1,847, always dated in the future, like the motel knows I'm coming back before I do. At 10:58 p.m., I walk into the office. Linda is at the desk. She hands me the logbook without a word. I clock in. She leaves, and I'm alone. At 3:17 a.m., I see him again. The man in the gray jacket. He's standing in the parking lot. Same position, same car. I watch him through the window. He doesn't move. I wait. 2 hours pass. He's still there. At 5:30, a woman walks out of room 7. She's in her 30s, dark hair, wearing a hotel robe over jeans. She walks past the man without looking at him. She crosses the courtyard. She walks past the laundry room. She walks toward the desert. I stand up. I go to the door. I should stop her. I should call out, but I don't. I just watch as she disappears past the fence, and 5 minutes later, the man in the gray jacket turns, slowly, mechanically, and he walks in the same direction, into the desert, toward the well. At 7 a.m., Linda comes in. She looks at the logbook. Quiet night? I nod. She sets her bag down. Room 7 checked out early, and room 12. I glance at the log. Both rooms are marked as checked out at 6:30 a.m. I didn't process either one, but the system shows they're gone. Linda looks at me. "You okay?" I don't answer. She pours herself coffee. "Go home, Casey. Get some sleep." I clock out. I walk to my car. I sit behind the wheel for a long time. Then I check my phone. There's a notification from my bank. Deposit, $1,847. Night audit shift, Sundial Motel. Date, February 2nd. 5 days from now. I stare at the screen. The shift I just worked was January 27th. The next deposit is dated 5 days ahead. Not 3, 5. I look back at the motel. Linda is watching me through the office window. She raises her coffee cup, a small wave. I start the engine. I drive away. But I know I'll be back. The motel is still expecting me, and I don't think it's ever going to stop. I make it as far as 29 Palms before I have to pull over. My hands won't stop shaking. I sit in a gas station parking lot and try to think. The deposit date jumped from 3 days to 5. That means something. I pull out my phone and open the calendar. January 27th was my last shift. February 2nd is the next deposit. 5 days. I count backward. My first deposit after I quit appeared on January 24th, 3 days after I left. The second appeared on January 27th, 3 days later. Now it's February 2nd, 5 days. The interval is increasing. I don't know what that means, but I know it's not good. I spend the next 4 days in a motel in Riverside, not the Sundial, a chain place off the 215, clean sheets, working Wi-Fi, other guests who actually leave their rooms. I try to find information online. I search for Sundial Motel complaints, Sundial Motel missing persons, Sundial Motel employment contract. Nothing useful comes up. just the same reviews I've already seen. I try searching for the old desert rest stop. I find a single photograph in a local history blog, black and white, dated 1967. It shows a small building with a flat roof and a hand-painted sign that says Rest Stop. There's a wooden fence behind it and open desert beyond. And in the background, barely visible, there's a stone well, the same one I saw behind the sundial. I zoom in on the image. There's something written on the well's edge. I can't make it out clearly, but it looks like carved letters. I screenshot the photo and try to enhance it. The letters are too degraded, but I can make out part of a word, E-T-U-R-N, or maybe E-T-E-R-N. I search for Desert Rest Stop Well and Highway 62 Well History. Nothing. I try Cistern, Mojave Desert, 1950s. Still nothing. I close my laptop. I lie on the bed and stare at the ceiling. My phone buzzes. It's a text from an unknown number. Shift starts at 11. I block the number. 2 minutes later, another text, different number. You're on the schedule. I turn off my phone. On February 2nd, I wake up at 3:17 a.m. I didn't set an alarm. I just woke up. I check my phone. There's a missed call from the sundial's main line, no voicemail. And there's a new email from Sundial Management, subject, shift confirmation. I open it. Dear Casey, this is a reminder that you are scheduled for night audit on February 2nd, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Failure to report for your assigned shift will result in automatic scheduling for the following week. Please confirm receipt of this message. Management. I delete the email. I check my bank account. The deposit posted at midnight, $1,847. And there's a new pending transaction, $1,847. Night audit shift, Sundial Motel. Date, February 9th. 7 days from now. The interval jumped again. 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. It's not slowing down. It's accelerating. I drive back to Barstow. I pack my things. I withdraw as much cash as the ATM will allow. I'm leaving California. I don't care about the contract. I don't care about the deposits. I'm going east and I'm not coming back. I throw my bag in the trunk and start the engine. I pull out of the alley and head toward the freeway, but when I reach the on-ramp, I stop. There's a car blocking the entrance. Silver sedan, engine off, driver's door closed. And standing next to it is the man in the gray jacket. He's facing away from me, toward the east, toward the direction I was planning to drive. I sit there, engine idling. He doesn't move. I honk. Nothing. I honk again. He doesn't turn around. I pull onto the shoulder and try to go around him. But when I pass the sedan, I see something in the back window. A piece of paper taped to the glass, handwritten in black marker. Turn back. I stop. I look at the man. He still hasn't moved. I get out of my car. I walk toward him. Hey, you need to move your car. He doesn't respond. I step closer. I said you need to. He turns, slowly. His face is pale, eyes sunken, lips cracked and dry. But he's smiling. And when he speaks, his voice is thin and brittle. Guests check out when they're ready. I back away. He takes a step toward me. You're not ready, Casey. I turn and run back to my car. I throw it in reverse, spin around, and floor it back toward town. When I check the rearview mirror, the sedan is gone. I don't go back to my apartment. I drive to a 24-hour diner on the edge of town and sit in a booth near the window. I order coffee I don't drink. I try to think. The man in the gray jacket knew my name. He was waiting for me, not at the motel, at the freeway, like he knew I was leaving. I pull out my phone and search for the photo of the old desert rest stop again. I zoom in on the well, the carved letters, turn or return. I feel cold. The well isn't just a well, it's something else, something that makes people come back. At 10:30 p.m., I'm still sitting in the diner. I've been here for 14 hours. The waitress has stopped asking if I need anything. I check my phone. There's a new email from Sundial Motel Management. Subject, shift starting soon. Your shift begins in 30 minutes. Please confirm you are en route. I don't reply. At 10:58, my phone rings. Unknown number. I don't answer. It rings again and again. At 10:58, it stops. I sit there in the silence. And then, at 11 p.m. exactly, every phone in the diner rings at once. The waitress's cell, the landline behind the counter, the cook's phone in the kitchen. They all stop after 2 rings. Everyone looks around, confused. I stand up. I leave cash on the table and walk out. I'm driving before I realize where I'm going. East on Highway 62, toward the Sundial. I tell myself I'm not going back. I tell myself I'm just driving, clearing my head. But my hands stay on the wheel, and my foot stays on the gas, and 30 minutes later, I pull into the parking lot. Linda is waiting at the desk. She looks up when I walk in. "You're late." I know. She slides the logbook toward me. I sign in. 11:34 p.m. She gathers her things. "Busy night," she says. "We're at capacity." I glance at the registry. All 34 rooms are occupied. "Anything I should know?" She pauses at the door. "Room 18 requested a late checkout tomorrow. Approve it if they ask." "Who's in room 18? She smiles. "You'll see." And then she's gone. I sit at the desk and try to stay calm. The motel is silent. No cars in the lot, no lights in the windows. But the system says all 34 rooms are full. At 1 a.m. I pull up the security footage. I scrub through the last 6 hours. No one checked in. No cars arrived. But the rooms are occupied. I switch to the live feed. The parking lot is empty. I zoom in on the windows. Every room is dark. But in room 18, I see movement. A shadow passing in front of the curtain. I watch. The shadow stops, and then the curtain pulls back. Someone is standing at the window, looking directly at the camera. I can't make out their face, but I recognize the gray jacket. At 3:17 a.m., I hear footsteps outside. Slow, steady. I look out the window. The parking lot is full now. 34 cars, all of them silver sedans, and standing beside each one is a guest, motionless, facing their vehicles. I step away from the window. I lock the door, but I know it won't matter. At 3:30, I hear the first door open. Room 1, then room 2, then room 3. One by one, the guests step out of their rooms. They walk across the courtyard in single file, silent, synchronized. They don't come to the office. They walk past it, toward the desert, toward the well. I watch them disappear into the darkness, all 34 of them, and then the motel is empty again. At 7 a.m., Linda comes in. She sets her coffee down and looks at the logbook. Quiet night? I stare at her. They all left. Who? The guests, all of them. They walked into the desert. She glances at the registry. We're still at capacity. No, they left. I watched them. She turns the screen toward me. All 34 rooms are still listed as occupied. Guests check out when they're ready, Casey. I stand up. I'm done. I'm not coming back. She nods. Okay, I mean it. I know. She picks up her coffee. See you next week. I walk out. When I get to my car, I check my phone. There's a new deposit pending. $1,847. Night audit shift. Sundial Motel. Date, February 16th. 14 days from now. The intervals keep doubling. 3, 5, 7, 14. I sit in my car and try to do the math. If the pattern continues, the next shift will be in 28 days, then 56, then 112. The motel is spacing out my shifts, but they're never going to stop. I look back at the office. Linda is watching me through the window, and behind her, standing in the doorway to the back room, is someone else, a figure in a gray jacket. They raise one hand, a slow wave. I start the engine and drive away, but I know the truth now. I'm not leaving, I'm just waiting for my next shift, and every time I come back, the motel takes a little more. Soon, it won't be 14 days between shifts, it'll be 7, then 3, then I'll never leave at all, just like the others. I make it back to Barstow by 8 a.m. I don't go to my apartment. I go to the library. It opens at 9. I wait in the parking lot until the doors unlock. Inside, I find a computer in the back corner and start searching. I need to understand what the well is. I need to know what happened at the desert rest stop. I start with newspaper archives, local papers, regional news, anything from the 1950s through the 1970s. Most of it is mundane: road construction, county budget meetings, high school sports. But then I find something. Needles Desert Star, August 3rd, 1971. Desert rest stop to close amid safety concerns. The desert rest stop along Highway 62, which has served travelers since 1953, will officially close next month following repeated complaints from motorists. Local authorities cited structural issues and unpredictable water supply as reasons for the closure. The rest stop's well, which provided water to visitors for nearly 2 decades, was sealed last week after health inspectors found the water unsafe for consumption. No further details were provided. The site will be abandoned and fenced off pending future development. I read it 3 times. The well was sealed in 1971, but I saw it behind the sundial, open, active. I keep searching. I find a follow-up article from September 12, 1972. Needles Desert Star, September 12, 1972. Missing traveler search called off. Authorities have suspended the search for Margaret Hollis, 24, who was last seen at the abandoned desert rest stop on Highway 62 3 weeks ago. Hollis's vehicle was found parked at the site, but no trace of her has been discovered despite extensive search efforts. 3 disappearances, all at the rest stop, all after it closed. I search for more. I find 2 additional articles, one from October 1972, a man named David Corwin, last seen at the rest stop, one from January 1973, a woman named Lisa Trent, same thing. After that, the articles stop. No more disappearances reported, no more mentions of the rest stop. It's like everyone just forgot about it. I find the construction records for the sundial next, public filings from 1985 to 1987. The developer, Raymond Coulter, purchased the land in 1984. Demolition of the old rest stop began in June 1985, but there's a note in the inspection report. Original well structure to remain. Developer requested preservation for decorative purposes. The well wasn't filled in. It was kept. On purpose. I sit back in my chair. Raymond Coulter knew about the well. He knew what happened there, and he built the motel anyway. I search for Raymond Coulter next. He died in 1998, heart attack, but before that, he owned 3 other motels in the Mojave. All of them closed within 5 years of opening. All of them had reports of unusual guest behavior. I find a bankruptcy filing from 1994. Coulter lost everything. The sundial was his last property. He sold it in 1995 to a management company called High Desert Holdings LLC. I search for High Desert Holdings. The company is still active. Registered address, a P.O. box in Barstow. No website, no contact information, just the P.O. box. I write down the address. I leave the library and drive to the post office. The P.O. box is in a back hallway, mixed in with hundreds of others. Box 447. I stand there for a long time, staring at it. Then I hear a voice behind me. "Can I help you?" I turn. It's a postal worker, middle-aged woman with graying hair and a name tag that says Diane. "I'm looking for information about a P.O. box," I say. "Box 447. She frowns. "I can't give out customer information. I'm not asking for a name, I just need to know if it's still active." She hesitates. Then she walks to a computer and types something in. "Box 447 is active, renewed annually. Last pickup was," she squints at the screen, "2 days ago. Who picked it up?" "I can't tell you that." "Please, it's important." She looks at me for a long moment. Then she lowers her voice. "I've been working here 23 years. That box has been active the entire time. And in all those years, I've only ever seen one person pick up the mail." "Who?" "A woman, 50s maybe. Always wears the same thing, tan blazer, coffee in her hand." My stomach drops. "Linda." Diane blinks. "I don't know her name, but yeah, she comes in every few months, takes the mail, and leaves. Never says a word." I step back. Linda isn't just the day manager. She's part of High Desert Holdings. She owns the sundial. I drive back to the sundial that afternoon. I don't care if it's not my shift. I need answers. The parking lot is empty when I arrive. Linda's Corolla is parked near the office. I walk inside. She's at the desk sorting mail. She looks up when I enter. "Casey, you're not scheduled today." "I know about High Desert Holdings." She sets down the envelope she's holding. "Do you?" "You own the motel. You've owned it since 1995. She doesn't deny it. And you know what's happening here. You know about the well. You know about the guests." She leans back in her chair. "I know the motel runs efficiently. I know guests check in and they check out. I know the business is sustainable. They're not checking out, they're disappearing. Semantics." I step closer. "What's in the well, Linda?" She smiles. "You've seen it. You already know." "I don't." "Yes, you do." She stands. "You've been working here 4 months, Casey. You've seen the guests. You've seen the pattern. You've felt it." "Felt what?" "The pull." I go still. She walks around the desk. "The well doesn't take people, Casey. It calls them, and when they're ready, they answer." "I'm not answering anything." "You already have." She gestures toward the window. "You left twice, and both times you came back. Because of the contract, because of the deposits." "No," she shakes her head. "The contract is just paperwork. The deposits are just numbers. You came back because the well wants you here." "Why?" She tilts her head. "Because you're like the others. You're tired, Casey. You're running from something, and the well offers rest." "I don't want rest." "Not yet." She picks up her coffee. "But you will." She walks toward the back room. Then she stops. "Your next shift is in 14 days, but if you want to come back sooner, the door is always open." She disappears into the office. I stand there, alone. I don't go back to Barstow. I drive west. I don't stop until I reach the coast. I find a motel in Ventura, a real one, chain franchise, corporate policies, normal guests. I pay cash for a week. I'm not going back to the sundial. I'm not working another shift. I don't care what the contract says. I don't care about the deposits. I'm done. But on February 14th, I wake up at 3:17 a.m. I'm drenched in sweat. I had a dream. I was standing in the desert behind the sundial. The well was open, and I could hear something below. Not voices, not movement, just silence. The kind of silence that feels like it's pulling you in. In the dream, I walked toward it. I looked over the edge, and I saw myself, standing at the bottom, looking up, smiling. I check my phone. There's a text from an unknown number. 2 days. I delete it, but an hour later, another text arrives. The well is waiting. I block the number. At 5 a.m., my phone rings. Unknown caller. I don't answer. It rings again and again. I turn off my phone and throw it in the drawer. On February 15th, I try to leave Ventura. I pack my bag, I check out of the motel, I get in my car and head north. But 20 miles up the coast, I see it. A silver sedan, parked on the shoulder, engine off, driver's door closed. And standing beside it, facing the ocean, is the man in the gray jacket. I slow down. He turns. He looks directly at me, and he mouths 2 words. Come back. I floor it. I pass him going 80. I don't look in the rearview mirror. I make it to Santa Barbara before I have to pull over. My hands are shaking so badly I can't hold the wheel. I sit in a parking lot and try to breathe. My phone is still off, but when I turn it back on, there are 43 missed calls, all from the same number, the sundial's main line. And there's one new email from Sundial Management. Subject, final notice. Your shift begins tomorrow at 11 p.m. Failure to report will result in immediate contract enforcement. You will be scheduled indefinitely until compliance is achieved. See you soon, Management. I stare at the screen. Then I open my banking app. The next deposit is still pending. $1,847. Night audit shift. Sundial Motel. Date, February 16th. Tomorrow. I close the app. I sit there for a long time, and then I start driving. East. Back to the desert. Back to Highway 62. Back to the sundial. I arrive at 10:45 p.m. The parking lot is full. 34 silver sedans, all of them identical. And standing beside each one is a guest, motionless, facing their vehicles, waiting. I walk to the office door. Linda is inside. She's sitting at the desk, sipping coffee. She looks up when I enter. Right on time. I don't say anything. She slides the logbook toward me. I sign in, 10:59 p.m. She stands and gathers her things. Busy night, she says. We're at capacity. I glance at the registry. All 34 rooms, all occupied. Anything I should know? I ask. She pauses at the door. Room 18 is checking out tonight. Who's in room 18? She smiles. You are. I sit at the desk and wait. At 3:17 a.m., I hear the doors opening, one by one. The guests step out of their rooms. They walk across the courtyard in single file, silent, synchronized. But this time, they stop, right in front of the office, all 34 of them, facing the window, facing me. And then, together, they turn, and they walk toward the desert, toward the well. I stand up. I know I should stay inside. I know I should lock the door, but I don't. I follow them. The well is waiting. The guests form a circle around it. They stand in perfect silence, and in the center of the circle, standing at the edge of the well, is the man in the gray jacket. He looks at me. "Guests check out when they're ready," he says. "I'm not a guest." "Yes, you are." He gestures to the well. "You've been here the whole time. You just didn't know it." I step closer. I look into the well, and I see them. All of them. The missing guests from the past 50 years, standing at the bottom, silent, still, waiting. And at the very center, looking up at me, is someone I recognize. It's me, wearing the same clothes I have on now, the same expression, the same tired eyes. The version of me at the bottom raises one hand, a slow wave, and I understand. The well doesn't take you, it shows you where you already are, and once you see it, you can't leave. I step back. The man in the gray jacket smiles. "You can fight it, Casey, but it'll still be here, tomorrow, next week, next year." I don't want this. Not yet. He turns back to the well. "But you will." The guests begin to move. One by one, they step toward the well, and one by one, they descend. Not falling, just walking down, into the darkness, until only the man in the gray jacket remains. He looks at me one last time. "See you next shift," and then he's gone. I run back to the office. I grab the logbook and flip through it. Every page is filled with names, hundreds of them. And at the bottom of the current page, in handwriting I recognize, is my name. Room 18, Casey Brennan, checked in, October 2023. Status, pending checkout. I slam the book shut. I clock out. I leave the keys on the desk, and I walk out. When I get to my car, I check my phone. The deposit has posted $1,847, and there's a new one pending, $1,847. Night audit shift, Sundial Motel. Date, February 23rd, 7 days from now. The interval is shrinking. I start the engine. I drive away, but I know the truth. I'm not leaving. I'm just counting down the days until I come back. And eventually, the intervals will disappear, and I'll be there every night. Just like Linda, just like the man in the gray jacket, just like all the others who thought they could leave. The motel doesn't let you go. It just waits. And when you're ready, you check out. Into the well. Into the silence. Forever. You listened till the end because somewhere this story connected with you. If you heard something, don't look back, move forward, and be silent. This channel is for those who enjoy stories that stay in their mind long after they're over. If this story gave you that feeling, support the channel by subscribing it and stay connected with me in this video.